It's been 4 years since Ifa last sat down with me on this podcast. And that was back when he was bundled up in a New Jersey barn training clients in 20-degree weather. And the Equestrian Fitness Academy had just officially launched. And a lot has changed since then. My name is Abriana. I'm the host of Black in the Saddle podcast, where we acknowledge the impact and the influence of Black people on the horse industry. And in this episode, Ifa is back. And this time, he's calling in from Hartpury University in England, one of the leading centers for equestrian sports science in the world, where he's nearly finished his second year of a degree program that, as far as he could find, didn't have an equivalent here in the U.S. While building his academic credentials, he is expanding the Equestrian Fitness Academy internationally, connecting with Black equestrian communities in the UK, especially an organization called Cool Ridings. And he's preparing to bring all of this back to the table at the Kinship Conference. In this episode, we kind of pick up where we left off. We talk about what it took, practically and mentally, to uproot everything and go back to school on the other side of the world. We talk about why the equestrian industry keeps getting in its own way by refusing to question traditions that don't have good answers. We also talk about what it looks like when a group of Black equestrians finds each other in the UK and leaves just energized with that connection. Ifa shares what he wants to walk away. This is really a conversation about growth, about being willing to not know things, and what it means to recommit every single day. I'm excited for you to listen to this episode. Let's get into it. Well, welcome back to the Black in the Saddle podcast, but a special actual welcome back to Ifa for coming back on and talking to me today about all the things that have changed in the last 4 years. It has been 4 years since you've been on the podcast. How do you feel about that?
That's it's funny. I actually didn't know it was 4 years. Time is flying, and I feel like I am maturing in a whole lot of ways. We'll say it that way. So, yeah, it feels good. Honestly, this is where I got my start. So, I'm excited to be back. It's my first time returning to a podcast as well. So, as always, you kick off the next thing, and then just be a snowball of people having me back on and hitting the ground running or continuing the trendsetters.
It pays to be first sometimes.
I'm in that space.
Yes. So last time you were on the podcast, you were training clients in New Jersey. It was like 20 degrees in the barn. And now you're all the way across the pond. Sometimes it's still 20 degrees. Just in a different country. Yeah. Tell me tell the audience what, because I know, but tell our listeners what Ifa's journey has looked like in the past 4 years, and what have you started prioritizing differently?
Ooh. Are we going there? Okay.
Out the gate.
Let's do it. Okay, so a lot's happened in 4 years, right? I mean, as I just mentioned, there's a lot of maturity, there's a lot of growth, there's a lot of I'd say in some ways redirection. As you just hinted at, I'm now back and forth to the UK, return to school. So you're not gonna start aging myself here. I'm definitely not gonna do that. But it's been over 10 years since I was in an academic setting. like this. And it is, as I started with, has been a lot of growing. So
Mhm.
for me, I've returned to school and I go to Hartpury University in Gloucester, England, which is one of the meccas and hubs and centers of equestrian sport just outside of the Cotswolds. And it has been quite the journey studying equestrian sports science over the past 2 years. Next week, I'll finish up with one of my most direct classes that has the most to do with the line of work that I do. And it's crazy to even think that year two is done with one more to go. But while I'm also out here, I'm expanding Ifa Fit or Equestrian Fitness Academy, and that leads me into the next chapter or next book of things that I'll be one working on and two achieving as we go forward post graduation.
Okay. So when we last talked, you were, focusing on, or I think actually you had just launched Equestrian Fitness Academy.
When
And
we had our first conversation, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
years.
Yeah. And I think that, you were trying to build connections, trying to expand your client base as not only we know horse people don't necessarily prioritize their own personal fitness compared to their horse's fitness and conditioning. But I want to know what was the kind of deciding factor for you to say, I need to do more education. Because you in a
Oh,
parallel universe, you could have just was tried to grind it out or even find somewhere in the US. What was compelling about going to this school in the UK, and why did you feel like you needed that additional education?
you know what's funny is I come from both of my parents being educators at the elementary level, but nonetheless educators. So my entire life, and actually before that, I don't know if I mentioned on the first podcast, but my parents owned a dance school. So my mom went to school for dance education. My dad went to school for graphic design and art sciences and stuff, things of that sort. So they had their dance school, which was teaching people. That's what they did for a living, right? And then that dissolved, and they went into the next things. My mom went into the classroom. I forget what my dad went into. He's in the classroom now. Has been in there for probably 20 years. So literally all my life, I grew up around this somewhat environment of learning, I think it's pedagogy and all the other gages that they that I think it's two others that they have, and it's never been something that I've been too far away from. But during that time frame, I've always been interested in going back to school, right? So it was time, opportunity, and exactly what was I going to focus on next. And there was, there's things like going into business and going into this, and then I already dipped my toe into that many a time. Not to say that I'm still not off that wavelength, but I think what it really was is number one, to answer that common question that most people have. Not one school in the U.S. that I've been able to find over a 8 to 10 year time frame had any equestrian focus to it. It was all equine, all horse management, all horse rehab, all horse. Yeah, there's a couple of dentistry. It's like anything else around dealing with the equine animal or anything associated with that was something that you could go to school for in the US. And there was nothing that I found. And there might be a tiny school somewhere that might be able to prove me wrong. But to date, I haven't been able to find that institution that said we prioritize the as I like to call it now, the pilot, the equestrian rider, as well as the horse. So equestrian sports science made sense based on my first degree in exercise science. And then it just sort of was like a perfect opportunity for me to bring that together. But I found this same school, and I think it was around 2021. at IHSA Nationals. So I went there, we're chatting. I have my own booth, they have their booth somewhere else. And as vendors get bored, they start walking around and talking to each other. And that's exactly what we did. That conversation lasted a long time. She gave me a very real and honest perception of what their institution was. And I would say that she did an amazing job at that. Sarah is her name. Amazing job at that. Funny enough, I met her the second day that I moved in here on campus last year. So you like literally, and she picked me out. She's like, I feel like we had a conversation a little while ago. Like you look familiar, and I didn't know you were coming to school here, but your face, your demeanor, our little conversation now is reminding me of that. So I say all of that to say that exercise science and blending that with the equestrian sciences, I don't know if it was a need, but it was always a want. And I've never been scared to say that I don't know something.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
that definitely came from my parents and my upbringing and my background. And I enjoy being around people who are like that. So to step outside of what I knew and what I know I don't know was where I felt like the biggest advantage could be, mixed in with a couple other things, but I won't say them on camera because then people might be able to use that as ammo. So there's an exclusivity to having this degree and returning or going to multiple other places and countries that I have the opportunity to do now because of the connection. But knowing the researchers that I've read papers about for years in my industry, talking about rider balance, rider asymmetry, equestrian back pain, equestrian performance using both horse and rider, saddle horse interaction, all of those different things. Like I can now name, email, talk to, have fun, chat, go to badminton and talk with them for a little while. Like those things are very common. And I think that wasn't a big aspect of what I wanted my next journey to be, is like, how can I continue to validate the work that I do in a scientific or non-scientific way that people would say, yes, there is something here to what you've been doing. And now that you have this is where we can see things going post graduation.
Mm.
Does that answer that question?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I
All right.
think so. One of the things that you kind of brought up was this notion of access,
Yeah.
being able
Yeah.
to be in the same rooms as the people who have, like you said, those
We've
research
been there.
dollars to validate the work that you have been able to understand the patterns of over time. Um, in the last episode, we talked about how you didn't, grow up as a horse person. And so what
Not
I'm
at all.
thinking of is, you entered number one, you've entered the culture of horse folks and equestrians. And that was not a culture that you grew up in and a culture that you were innately familiar with. But now you moved across the world and you've added another layer of culture
Yeah.
that you did not grow up in. So how have you changed or seen things differently as you have navigated entering these different cultures? Obviously, having a student mindset, but what is
Mhm.
that required of you?
It requires a minimizing, whatever the hell the word is.
That is a word, minimizing
Okay.
what?
Minimizing ego, right? Minimizing ego. And I can honestly say that I don't feel like I came to this school with that. I can honestly say that. I think in some ways I've needed to bring that into conversation.
Mm-hmm. Like
To,
like you need to have more ego. Like they got you messed up. No, I'm kidding.
yeah, yeah. Honestly, yes. In a way, yes. I think it's easy in general, right? I have a lighthearted spirit. I'm goofy and I'm fun. Not goofy in a silly, in like a childish way, but goofy as in I know how to have a good time, but then I also know how to turn on and do my job when it's necessary and well. And the practical side of things mixed with not, and I won't just speak for the school, but I'll speak towards the industry, is people often want a scientific in at large, people often want a scientific reasoning for something when there doesn't need to be that when it comes to just using your eyesight. So, I mean, if I can see that, for example, a rider is crooked and leaning to the side, and we like to use the word collapse all the time. Shoulders low, a hip is high. It's an imbalance in musculature. It's a lack of muscular engagement. I don't need to have a degree to be able to see that if we do this to help them to sit more upright or to stand or to improve their gait, that will have a positive effect on a horse.
Right.
So in a lot of ways, it's kind of like, how can you say that? And it's like, you, I'm,
I'm looking at it.
how much more do you really want from me in that case? So
Yeah.
in certain conversations and ways where people, once again, because I don't come from the same, need I say, indoctrination of the culture historically in my childhood, I don't have the same eyes that everyone else or a lot of others have had because they've just done and seen and been a part of the same thing repeated over time. So yes, I've had to put my foot down in certain scenarios and moments to say, okay, this is why this works, and this is why that doesn't work, and here's why this works practically, and here's why I think we should probably think about blending the two of those together. For example, technology and the work that I do, and the next generation of what equestrian sports and equestrian performance will look like will have that adopted and interconnected, as we see in quite a few other things with different apps, looking at
Yeah.
horse gait analysis, which is easy to see and do in the human. So bringing that to the forefront, but also, yes, standing tall and saying, yes, no, my name is Ifa, and I have been doing this, and I've been doing this for 10 years, and I've been in the trenches of it, actually in person with humans, as well as online in the digital space. And that's something that quite a few of our newer generation of fitness professionals in this space cannot say.
Right.
And there's only a few of us who've been able to convert from the in-person to the online successfully. So I think having the tools in the toolbox to allow me to manage that has been important.
I think that is such a critical point that you kind of bring up about not having the same eyes as someone who's been in the industry forever, because oftentimes that's exactly what we need. And because we have been conditioned to accept certain things for so long, um, we're not as sensitive. We are desensitized
Yeah.
to the some of the things that might raise a question for someone who has fresher eyes or a fresher perspective. And I think that is a huge part of why this industry is so far behind, because they're like, no, it has been done this way. And I think you brought it up in your Plaid Horse article,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
why
Why they're
is
not from the same side, left side only.
yeah, or even just traditions being left unquestioned. Um,
And I get beat over the head often for asking those questions with my just simple, naive mind. It's
uh-huh.
yeah, I don't know if you can see the knots, but they certainly are there. Still putting ice packs on them every so often. The last
Well,
one was, why is it called a crank noseband? That was the last one.
oh,
I said the room went quiet. Why is it called a crank? Well, it's just kind of why it's called that. Look around. Nobody else has an answer. Hmm, that's interesting. And then a friend and I started talking about it, and we talked about the design of it, and it was like, okay,
because then you
okay.
have to be honest about the mechanisms of the
Then it
noseband. Don't
then it
nobody
starts
want to
to
say it out loud.
right. And now we're going back to calling it a Swedish. So it's like, so now we're taking away the crank because we're going back to where it came from instead of saying, what does this actually do? And it holds and cranks the horse's mouth shut, for lack of better explanation. that didn't come from me. That came from somebody who studies that type of movement and why and
Yeah.
how the nose bands and such are have different effects. Just like I have a good friend who works on bits for a living. Like that's what he does. So biomechanically and mechanistically, if that's a word.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you can't argue with people who like dive into that. Like I wouldn't argue with someone like myself who's like, no, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to that. So
Right.
yes, but that one aired the room out for sure. And I was like, oops,
That's
maybe I shouldn't
interesting.
ask that question.
Well, and I feel like stuff like that happens everywhere. Like, and like that's not a UK specific thing.
No, 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 no.
That is a
No,
horse industry
I want to
trait,
make that very clear that it is.
characteristic.
Yeah,
Yes.
anything that I say today is not something that I wouldn't or haven't been able to have a conversation or couldn't get answered in the
Yeah.
US or any other country that I have been able to visit and work alongside or with horses at some point. So no, this is at no means is this a UK versus US.
Nah.
I actually don't want to be in that. I've
Nah.
been in that over the 2 years, and I don't enjoy the separation of who's
Yeah.
better, who's bigger, who's doing more, who's done more. I think
Yeah.
there's
It's
there's
not
there's
helpful.
benefits to them all. It's not, and I think being a bridge is what I continue to do within the industry, and I want to elaborate on that as the years go on. Of like, yeah, I did that. I've been there.
Yeah. I kind of want to know more about. Yes, you understood that that was a the best place for you based on what you wanted to do academically. But what did it require for Ifa personally? Like you uprooted your life. You know, you had a client base here in the
Right.
US. You,
Still do
I mean,
again.
well, and I
Mhm.
forgot that you lived in Hawaii. So this is not like a,
It's not.
aha, it's not your first
You
rodeo.
know what? I don't know what type of show notes you got from before, but you good. You good. You do your homework and you remember. All right.
Yes, I
This
do.
is why she's the best, everybody. This is why it's being proven. It is being proven in real time. Continue. You were saying.
I just wanted to know what it took for you personally. Like, what was that mindset shift for you mentally? Because
Yeah.
as I am talking about the conference and what it means to be in this industry in every
Yeah.
facet, I feel like people sometimes struggle with what does it require of me to do this thing that I may not have seen someone else do, that I'm not confident that I can do. Um, so can you talk a little bit about what that took mentally?
Yeah. Every strain and fiber in my brain.
And I'm fighting for my life over here.
Oh, somebody help. No, yeah, it's been a beast even before, right? Like it was everything, and I won't go into every detail, but it was the idea of like, how am I going to do this, right? Like, as I've had conversations with a couple different people, Jochen Schleze, the Schleze Saddles, he and I just had a really good chat recently, and we were supposed to have a conversation with someone else, and they didn't show up, and we were just able to kick it, and we do from time to time, but in that moment, he was just like, "Bro, it just hit me. We've done a whole series together, and you've been out there in the UK, and I know you go back and forth." He's like, "Bro, are you minted?" And I'm like, "I am not minted. I do not have money coming out of my ears." He's like, "How the hell do you do it? Like, you have a life back home that you still pay for, and you have a life out there that you're working towards, and you're paying for." And I'm like, "And I'm working, and I'm still working on my business, and I'm writing papers, and all of that, right?" He's like, "What?" Like, kudos to you. There's so many people who can't even think to go back to school when they want to, with a nice, beautiful university next door in the same town, in the same city, and don't have the same excuse, or don't have the same excuses that you might have. But what is it, just as you were saying? And I think the determination for change, as we talked about in our first conversation as well, is like I I think people get it twisted because I didn't grow up with horses that I really do love horses. Like I think they really get that twisted because it's not intrinsically a part of my fiber and my being like it is others. You know what I mean? You just know what certain horse people feel like. I don't have that same tangible feel to me, but it's in me,
Mm.
you know? And I think once I got my first client there in Jersey and I started working with them, and then I got her friend, that turned out to a thing. But then I got her friend, that's when I learned, it was the first step to learn, stay out of horse people drama. Um, that I really love the idea of working with people who were adjacent to it. And I knew that if I could stay close enough to it, that I'd be closer towards working with or being around the horses again. Fast forward to 2020, over a time frame that actually happened, right? When I was now in, from my standpoint of being in the gym or a fitness studio to now being in the horses environment, where they live, where they are. And that was, I still can't fully describe it. Maybe I'll be able to describe it in person when we're on stage at the conference. But the idea of just how much they bring out of you and how much they love you no matter what is something that I want more people to understand. And I want people to do better because they know that there's something a bit more sentient to this being than there are to many others, um, that we have this connection with. Going forward into why it means so much and how that has an effect on me is I want to continue to make a positive impact on the horses' lives in the best way that I can with my line of work. And I know that even though being called crazy, being weird, being outside of the norm, being all of those things misunderstood, um, having to work on how I say things, thanks to you and many others, it's a good thing. It has really helped to mold my mindset and my goal, my path, and how I interpret things internally and how I want to make a change going forward. And I have a good friend, Naomi, who has been helping me over the past year with like truly understanding the industry, not the way I see it, but the way it is. And
Mm.
it's been a game changer because she's so matter of fact in a beautiful way that's like, yeah, but that's how old money works. Yeah, but that's how old culture works. Yeah, but you're not in that. You're not of that. So if you're going to do that, you have to at least understand these foundational components. And I always say this I tell my parents all the time, that the story of when you told me, look, brother, just because of where you grew up didn't have horses next door and you didn't see black people on horses, that didn't mean that there weren't black people riding horses in 2020 when we met, and 20 years prior. And you were like, I am that example of people who grew up in an environment where that existed. And it really changed the paradigm of my life and my vantage point, and has really helped, to be quite honest, out here, because there's a lot of that gets tested, because
Mm.
it's kind of like, how could you, how do you? And now that I have another 4 or 5 plus years of comfort, confidence, and understanding of like, you're not going to erase me from the book just because you want to.
Right.
You just not. I mean, the first picture of the racehorse being photographed was a black jockey. That didn't come up in class. Oh, I dropped that. Yep. So what we're gonna do is, yep. So did you know? And not like that, but
Right,
in a
right.
very in a different way. And it was like, huh, yeah, I couldn't tell. I just thought the picture was black and white. It is black and white. Yeah, it is. But let's make sure that we have an understanding of like, me being the only one in this class is me stepping outside of the comfort zone, and most wouldn't do something like that. But that doesn't mean that we don't exist as a whole
Right,
and overall. And
right,
that for me is foundational.
right.
Does that answer the question about my mental and how I got here and
It
all of
does.
the components of, okay, because it's still something I'm fighting for.
Yeah.
And I'm winning. and I'm winning because the
Good.
determination is more than anything else. And I think that's what really keeps me going. Yeah,
Good. And I think that's important because it doesn't stop. It's not like a destination you have reached where you're like, oh, whoo, I'm good now.
here
Done.
comes the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
um, I'm confident and now I can check that box. There's no more fear. It's like, no, every single day
yeah,
we get up
yeah.
and it's a recommitting every single day. It's hard every single day, and I still choose to do it every single day. And so that is something that I have learned just throughout the process of building out Black in the Saddle and figuring out what this amorphous thing is and trying different things. It's hard every single day, and I choose to do it every single day. The Kinship Conference is coming. Black in the Saddle is partnering with the Urban Culture Association of Black Cowboys and Cowgirls to bring to you this 2-day experience. This conference is designed especially for Black horse folks. I'm talking about Black cowboys and cowgirls, Black equestrians, or anyone who really just loves learning about this culture. We have over 28 speakers coming to deliver sessions and workshops on a range of different topics. We're going to have live music. We're going to have industry round tables and panels. You need to be in the room. If you feel like you want more from your work in the horse industry, or you have been feeling alone in what you do, this is the event for you. Tickets are on sale at blkinthesaddle.com/kinship, or you can find the link in the show notes. In our last episode, we talked about you wanting to connect with more Black horse people. And not only in the just Black and horses and just having that experience, but also in saying, hey, we have got to start taking care of ourselves. There is a level of fitness that we need to be addressing just within our culture that kind of ain't got nothing to do with horses. but you know, if we need to pair it with something that you're interested in, then by all means. How have you been able to work on that while you've been
In school.
at school? Yeah.
Well, we have a beautiful organization here, not we, because I don't own it, but we in the UK currently, called Cool Ridings, headed by Lydia Haywood. And her determination is just the same as what we were saying a second ago of like recommitting every day, all the different changes. And my first get together with her, I slept through it. Keeping that story short. I don't know what it was.
Wait, you say you slept through it?
Yeah, I overslept. So
Oh.
she came to campus and she was like, all right, yeah, we're gonna meet, and completely missed it. So got back into her good graces, thank goodness, because that's not easy. And then and then we had an amazing conversation that has led to us planning and executing a few different organizational events. And I tell you, I have never had that experience where I was able to be around and with that many Black equestrians of different disciplines, of different ages, of different goals and insights. And for her to be able to, thankfully, the place is small, right? I mean, the UK is tiny considering me driving to North Carolina for an event is a completely different ball game.
Right.
But nonetheless, they make the time, and that's beautiful. And because they make the time, there's a reward and a response to all of us getting kind of recharged to go back into our different areas. I mean, there's people coming up from up north, all the way from London, in between, coming from southern areas of England. I don't know how to say it, down south, I guess. So all over, but quite a few of us, thank goodness, happen to be right here in Gloucester, right? So, I mean, even better, right, for me. So we did one event with Racewood simulators at the end of last year, May, and we have done two others since then, different connection events. We've done badminton, horse trials over the past weekend. and had a course. Well, I mean, there's so many different things that she and her vision and the group are able to put together that allows me, because I don't see that many Black people on a daily basis out here at school. So it really does help in that case. But she is also leading the charge like you in a different way. And prayerfully, there'll be more of that as we go along of helping people to visually see that. Because watching people from the from a third point of view, see a group of Black people walking through or in and comfortably in an environment is really unique to watch. So um, I enjoy that. That's for sure. So it's been great to connect with the community out here. I'm really looking forward to doing even more of that when I get to a conference in the fall.
You said that, when you all are able to come together, you leave recharged. Can
Yeah,
you, I mean, I know you can't speak to the experience of other people, but what do you notice in others? Like, yes, there's this energy around it, but what are you noticing in, the students coming through cool ridings, through, Lydia after these kinds of events? Like, what does that look like?
they describe that as buzzing. Um,
Oh, okay.
when yeah, in other words, it's radiating. It's radiating with good energy or excitement or positive vibes. And for me, watching that from being in it, but also sometimes because I'm not participating in every single event the same way. It's cool to see people let their hair down and like joke in a way that only we get. And there's just subtle nuances, or we just look at each other and we start laughing, or did you just see that? It's cool to watch that and, like I said, be a part of it, but also to see other people connecting of different age ranges, from parents to get kids, right? Young ones, all the way up to adults, and to connect with, I mean, so many different accents because of the geographical locations here, which is so cool. But how we get to talk about culture from where I am from and from where they are from, even if it's northern equestrian culture to London equestrian culture to out here in the West Midlands, they call it. So just it's so cool, right? Because on a normal basis, those people would never connect. Kind of like I
Right,
wouldn't go to South Jersey to go to Walmart. I just wouldn't do that. Got a Walmart right next door to where I live. It's similar to that.
right.
We're in our own ecosystem. So to see those ecosystems come together, people who don't know each other, and then they start to know each other, and then to see them actually care and connect and communicate and actually show up for each other during their competitions or helping out with grooming for the day. Like there's so many little things that I don't even think, for one, Lydia understands. Not to take away from her, but I don't think that she completely understands how much she's been a glue for this community out here and expanding that over the years with so many different partners and organizations and people who you can feel actually care. One of their they call them hat fitters, helmet fitters, out here for Charles Owens. She is such good people. And I met her in passing at first, and then we got the chance to chat and chop it up at badminton. And her comfort around us was just like, yeah, you can tell, like you can tell. And it's finding those people and adding them to your list and group of people who care and want to be there, and her adamant stance on there's no reason why you all shouldn't have the same opportunities that I do with my hair and my in the culture that I ride in. It's like, okay, yeah, she gets it more than the key terms and the things that you're supposed to say. She gets it in a heart, in her heart. So
Awesome.
that hopefully explains that.
Yeah. I know when I was there for work in London, um I have
Over
learned
winter, I think that was
October.
fall. Okay, yeah,
I have learned that I I don't even know if it's an overestimation or an underestimation, but directionally, if I'm looking at a map and it's like, it's only this far apart,
Oh, yes, yeah,
that
yeah,
I'm just like,
yeah.
that's not too far away, right? This happened to me in California just recently too.
Yeah.
So, London's not special. But I was like, I'm in London. Come on, you right down the road.
Yeah, yeah.
Come hang
Right.
out, to then find that you took two buses, a plane, and a train. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't know that you
Could
were
be
not close to
somewhat
here.
prohibitive. Yeah, yeah. And that's the first time we actually met as well, which is really,
Oh
really dope.
yeah, it is.
The first time we met.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had to make that happen just because of how much you've been a positive light, helpful in my career life and journey. Um, but yeah, it does take a lot, and I found myself, and I tell this quick story. I found myself correcting people every time they say, "Yeah, yeah, he out there in London. I am in London."
No, he's not. He's really not.
You got a chance to experience that, right?
Yeah.
Firsthand. And I took that back and I told my dad over, I don't know what break it was. And he was like, "Bro, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I think you're in London." And I'm like, "How the hell can you say that? You're my dad. Like, you're supposed to know where I am." He's like, "Look, when you hear London all of your life, I mean, you hear England all of your life, you just assume London and you think it's a massive place. And in a way it is, but you don't know all the other intricate places outside of that. It takes a serious geographical buff to do that." So he's like, "I hear them, but just take it easy on people when you do that. Because sometimes I just drop a London because I don't even know how to say where you are." And I was like, "That's also fair." So I've been a lot easier with people who say it now. And I'm just like, "Yeah, well, not that close, but it's not, I'm not as annoyed when people say, 'Yeah, you're out there in London.'"
Right.
Because I'm like, trust me, I'd be having a ball lived out here in London. Trust me. Yeah.
Yeah, because I had a ball while I was there. But
And you
like
didn't
I
party either.
no, and I didn't even party. I just
I
ate good
partied
food.
once in London. I was like, I want this every weekend. I'm not a partier.
Oh
But I was
wow.
like, yeah, yeah. That's why
Okay.
I'm 2.5 hours removed from this, because they know I need to stay focused on the studies of my
Right.
business. I
Right.
wouldn't have been able to do that if I was in London. No
See?
way on earth. Look at God, as they say.
Yes, look at God. And I also think it's like, that cultural difference, right? Because, here we're just gonna hop in a car and drive. Like that's just and it's they have so much better public transit, like that the culture of travel is completely different.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
so when you say that people are working to come together and gather for these very niche, very specific,
Mhm. Yeah.
because it is important for us to see ourselves together and to navigate these spaces together. Like that just shows the commitment and the willingness and the desire to gather in that way. And I think that's really dope.
Bringing the horses and all of that. I mean, so that's it's a serious commitment of different hour long, more than hour long travel with a horse
Yeah.
on
Horse
a time
boxes.
frame.
I mean,
Horse boxes.
they got horse boxes. I am
They do.
jealous. I
They
got a
do
horse
have horse
van,
boxes.
but that's for Encore.
But horse boxes are coming to the US at a rapid rate. At a
They
rapid
are.
rate. Yeah.
However, like with most things coming to the US, they are 50 million $11.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll just continue to look at them from afar.
I still think the trailer is a better option.
Yeah.
For ease of access to different things. You unhook it, and now you got your truck, and you can go and run
Right.
errands and do what you
Right.
need to do. So I still think a part of the U.S. culture, it doesn't make sense to have a horse box in the way that they do here,
Yeah.
just for the variety of reasons why we might have to leave something and keep going and just
Go to
because last
Walmart.
minute stuff happens and go to Walmart, right, in a new area, right, exactly, because people travel state to state often for competitions in the US, and it's not, this is one country, right? So I mean there's states that are well bigger
Than
than
this
this.
country.
So
Yeah.
That's the point of why I think it's coming, but it's still not going to be the overall universal change, if I can say that.
Right, right. Well, let's talk about the Kinship Conference because that's kind of what we've been talking about. Kinship,
Yeah,
gathering our
yeah.
folks, gathering in community. What is something that you're looking forward to for our event in November
My
besides
people,
the 6 a.m. workout that,
six, is it
yeah,
six?
yeah,
Breaking news, everyone. I'm just finding out now, at the same time that you are, that I am
you
now
have,
leaving 6 a.m. Okay, I'll be there. Cool.
yeah, you have 6 months to plan, over 6 months to
Got
prepare
6 months to sleep in preparation for
because we
that.
know you like naps. Okay, we know you like naps. So we'll make
I
sure you
will.
get one.
I'm claiming that. I'm claiming that. I'm claiming that. So I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to connecting with faces and names that I've seen for a while, but never had the chance to because once again, you're in completely different. I mean, the only one that I've connected with two. Have you had Deontay on your podcast? Deontay
Mm-mm,
Sewell or
mm-mm.
Sewell? Say his
No,
name.
we're familiar, but I
Okay,
haven't had him on the podcast.
got it. I think that might be a dope conversation. Anyway, him and Aaron are the only ones that I've connected with. Now you, in person, physically, right? Black equestrians of our culture per se. And I think just expanding on that list of people you've had conversations with, been on podcasts with, done certain things with, but just didn't have that physical like link up. That's going to be a game changer to elevating the relationship with people years later, right? And I think that's the power of social media, but also the power of, once again, getting back into that kinship of what we're talking about and looking out for each other, even though we're in different coasts and states and county lines. But I think there's an energy to the Kinship Conference that you have done an absolutely amazing job at fostering from a distance, which is crazy. Crazy. Yeah, everybody can't do this, I'll tell you. From a distance, that is something that I want everybody to experience. And I have clients who are not associated with the industry who are going to be there at this event, who are excited. My aunt who will be there, who had a relationship with my grandfather's horse, if I'm not mistaken. So all of that like comes full circle at this kinship conference in so many ways. And we also have family in the state, so prayerfully we get to see them, and maybe even they decide to come over and just be engulfed in this environment of, I didn't know this took place, I didn't know this was a thing, or wow, I'm glad I got to be a part of that. And I think also being inaugural is really exciting. I love being a part of firsts. Like I just love being a part of that. I love creating those things as well, but that might be a component of my parents, right? They're both artists in their own ways. And that's a being in touch with the ability to create. So seeing and watching you go from YBE
Ooh.
and hearing about that to where we are today with Black in the Saddle bits, it's like it's so much that has taken place as you were talking about in your maturation, my maturation and growth to now a conference.
A
A
conference.
conference. Yes. Yeah. So what I'm looking forward to is adding what I do best into this space, as you were saying before, which is how can Ifa, how can not the brand, the human, how can he bring his expertise and experience to this space so we can actually continue or start the conversation of it's time we start to look at how we can be there for our horses even longer because we love them. But what are we doing outside of that that helps us to be there for them on that long-term thing? And that 6 a.m. thing will be the first catalyst, and then maybe a couple conversations and some other different sessions too. I mean, I'm open to just being of service during this time and being there and and I'm really excited. I don't think you'll ever know how excited I am. But I'm excited and I'm ready, and I wish it wasn't 6 months from now, but it does give me something to look forward to.
Honey, we need all 6 of them months.
I bet you do. I
We
bet. We're
need
not gonna rush. We're not gonna rush the committee now. No.
we not we no, we can't do that. We can't do that. But speaking of, rider fitness and our own longevity, and being there for our horses, for our partners, what is something that you want people to take away from your session? I know it's not, 100% planned out, but you know what you've learned and what you really want to share. What is something you want people to take away?
The movement or the okay. The movement. I always want people to feel a sense of freedom after they move. It doesn't matter if you're a client that's in the industry or out of the industry. The goal is always to feel better, right? And it's not just mental. It really is like a mental, emotional, physical. There's supposed to be, on average, a lightening of moods, a lightening of moods, a elevation of heart rate, depending on the moment. The goal is not to kill anyone. The goal is to help people feel better. And I think once the blood starts pumping and we start to figure out, oh yeah, I have a little bit of tightness there. I wasn't even aware of that one. Like, oh, okay, but now I feel like I worked through it and I feel better than I did before. It's that same visceral feeling that I want them to take away and continue to do, even in the smallest of ways, before, during, or after they're able to ride. And a lot of the things that we'll end up doing will be transferable to you could do at home,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, lots of stuff that you just don't need extra equipment to do. You just need to have the mindset of, I remember how I felt and I want to repeat it.
That's good. That is good.
And drink more water.
You always slide that in here. You see my mason jar? I am drinking water, okay?
You
I've
are.
had
It's just not as large of a container as it used to be.
right, right. I've had two of those today.
No, I will say this because that was a joke, but I would say that I'm glad you caught that. I also have something small. I've gone with a smaller container, and I think that that's actually better for people to do because the smaller ones you have to refill them rather than the large 20s or 32s that we typically have nowadays, and then you're like slowly sipping on it throughout the whole day. But if you finish it's a 12 ounce here, which is probably something around where you have, you fill it up again because you're not going to leave a container that you're drinking out of empty. So I
Right.
think that's also subconsciously helpful for people to continue to stay hydrated on their wellness and their that path, which is why horses need to always have a certain proximity to water and liquid as well. So yeah,
Well, thank you for that reminder.
everybody, yes.
So, I've started doing this. Actually, I don't even remember if we did this the first time because 4 years was so long ago. And despite doing my research, I didn't listen to the whole episode. We are now bringing back our lightning round or
Lightning
derby round.
round.
Yes. Did we do that
Okay.
last time? We
Did
did. Okay.
yeah.
See, I should have
Wait,
went.
is that a bad thing?
No, no.
You're not
I'm
going to
just
choose the
saying.
same. You're not going to choose the same questions, though, are you?
I have no idea.
Okay, cool, 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 cool.
So, because we just came up with it.
I'm still Bay over Gray.
You're still what?
Bay over Gray.
Oh, no,
Bay.
that's definitely not one of the questions.
Hey, okay, good. All right.
Okay, all right. Derby round. Let me okay. All right. What does a perfect day off look like for you?
Holy smokes, what a question. Wasn't expecting that. A day out in nature, anything connected with nature, I'm happy with. A hike, a nature walk, arboretum, garden, sitting outside, something of that sort, anything like that. So yeah, I'm not picky with that one.
Okay. Early morning workouts or
Early morning workout.
daytime workouts or evening workouts?
Early morning. Morning. I'll just say morning because early morning is like super, super early. Anything before 12, but typically before 10. I don't think you consider 10 early morning, do you?
Nah, 6. I just want to make sure you was gonna be on time at 6 o'clock.
Oh,
Don't be shaking
oh,
your
that's
no,
good.
you got 6 months to
Good.
plan.
I'll be there. I'll be there. That was good. Good comeback.
Okay.
Just making sure you're gonna be there.
Yeah, just had to slide that in there.
Yep.
Fit to ride or ride to get fit?
Fit to ride or ride to get fit. Fit to ride.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you prefer an in-person clinic or an online program?
Always in person over online. But I do love the ability to do both.
Um, what is your favorite rest day practice or like active recovery activity?
A practical one, not an ideal one.
I mean, both.
Practical would be like a little mobility with some TV. Sometimes I just sit and work on some hip mobility, shoulder stuff, lay down on the floor and I watch TV.
Okay.
Yep. Or even on the
Okay.
couch.
All right.
Oh, sorry. The ideal one would be like a yoga and or Pilates reformer chill class. My yoga class is always restorative. That's my ideal. That's my ideal yoga. And then the Pilates would be just something to take the body through the natural ranges of motion. But yeah, those two would be the ideal. I don't always have access to that.
Okay. What is one podcast, movie, or book that you would recommend to someone who wants to learn more about rider fitness or a resource in general? It
I
doesn't have
wanna
to be just
I wanna
the
thank me. I want to thank me. Listen to anything connected to
I know that's right. I know that's right. You said I got
please.
archives.
I I do. You can go back and I will have you know, I actually had a client that came to me from our first podcast that she listened to in 2025. And we've been working together ever since. And I was like, how the hell did you end up on that one? And she was like, I can't tell you, but you really spoke to me. I was like, wow.
SEO
So
is SEOing.
keep doing what you're doing. Unicorn Creative is helping a brother out. But
I love that.
yeah. So it's worked. And I was like, how do I sound now listening to me in person during our first, intake call? How do I sound now? She was like, you sound like there is a level of maturity, but the passion and the fire is exactly the same. And I think that's probably what really said to her, this is the one. This is why I was led to him. This is why I reached out. So thank you for keeping the links active and all of that as well.
Of course, I would agree with her 100%.
Yeah.
Um, One word to describe what horses have taught you about people.
About people, that's the curveball.
I know one word might be hard. 1 to 3 words.
It's the about people. I don't know what they taught me about people. Horses taught me other people. It taught me enthusiasm about myself. I'm gonna answer that. I can't help you about people. Um, People got a long way to go. Is what I'm gonna say on that one. But
That is true.
enthusiasm, I think it brings out what's already in you. So whether you're an a-hole or whether you're a beautiful person inside, being around a horse is gonna only exacerbate that. And they're mirrors. Mirror, that's the word. mirror.
Dang, Ifa, I'm gonna have to tell you something. It's so funny because I'm actually posting a video on this this week because I've been doing this series called Black People, Horses, and Mental Health.
Oh,
And my next video is about how horses are not mirrors. So
they're not mirrors.
they're not mirrors.
Ooh,
Mm-mm.
ooh,
Nah, nah.
ooh,
But you
ooh.
know, that's for another episode.
I'm game. I'm game. That sounds like a beautiful it sounds like a beautiful series. I need to connect with.
Yes, yes. You know, the editing is the bane of my existence, but we're gonna get it together and we'll get it out here at some point. So,
Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely.
anyway, thank you so much for coming on here for a second time, for being a speaker for the Kinship Conference, for being on the planning committee, because I need to there are distinct things happening here. Not only
Yep.
has Ifa said, yes, I will come and share my knowledge and wisdom with the Black in the Saddle community and the urban culture community, but I also will help offer my perspective for the last since August. And
Yeah. Yeah.
between the time difference and just all of the here, there, and everywhere brainstorming, planning, ideating, execution. I can tell by the ticket sales, you are having the conversations that matter,
Oh, that's good.
because your folks are coming to buy tickets.
That's
And
good.
so I am
Yeah.
very appreciative of the work that you have put in. And I can't wait for us to bring this together in a few months. So
Thank you.
thank
Can I
you.
can I add something real quick?
Yeah.
Um, in our first podcast, you said something that made me, when we linked up in the fall, 2025, you made me go back on our conversation. So I re-listened to that podcast and I wrote down something that I keep on my desk every day. I don't know if you remember what it is. Can you see what that says there?
Oh, yes, I can see. You got nice handwriting.
Well, thank you. Get started and keep going for those who are listening and not watching. It's really resonated with me, and it felt so real to see and to hear it again that I now keep that on my desk because that is the falling in love with it. It's repeatedly, but also just remembering why you do it. So at that time, like you said, in 2021 or whatever time frame that we had that first conversation, that Equestrian Fitness Academy was just officially launching in its digital space. And now it's in multiple countries and work with riders of multiple disciplines. So thank you for the ability to help me get started. And as you can see, I am definitely continuously and keeping going. So thank you.
Yes, yes. Awesome. All right. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Black in the Saddle. Subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcasting player and over on YouTube. You can also join us on Patreon. We started that new this year, and that is where the behind the scenes lives, okay? Behind the scenes of episodes, of events that we're planning this year, and much, much more. So I cannot wait to see you over there.